Welcome to the Dr. Jim Cares podcast with Dr. James Augustine, where we provide powerful solutions for helping you create wellness. The following discussion is for educational purposes only and is not meant to diagnose or treat disease. Because our approach is individualized, it's important to not apply this information without first consulting with your healthcare professional. And now, here's Dr. Jim.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Don't have the energy, brain fog, focus and concentration. Oh gosh, I'm losing my memory. I must buy into what the doctor keeps telling me. Well, you are just getting older, and it's probably genetic. Not right, not good, not true. So I'm going to give you 3 things today that are going to make the most major impact on your full body health. And trust me, this will make a major, major difference that you will be very, very happy with and excited with. My name is Dr. Augustine from the Dr. Jim Cares podcast. And on this special edition, I call it special because it is special, we're going to be talking about 3 items that if you work on these 3 items and really get them in great shape, you are going to have profound changes. So what are these 3 items? Number 1 we're going to talk about is liver health. Liver health, your liver. It's such an incredible organ system and does so much for you. Number 1, it's the master creator of all your blood fats, your lipids. In blood work, it's called lipids, but it's your cholesterol. LDL, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides, all of those things, liver. So we can affect that in a good way. Liver also controls blood pressure. Now, certainly there can be an issue with your kidneys that could be affecting blood pressure, but it's a very big regulator of blood pressure. Iron metabolism. All iron metabolism is because of your liver. There's a hormone in there called hepcidin. And so iron control in a person's body is liver. What about mood, emotions, anxiety, depression, those sorts of problems? Also liver. How about your gallbladder, the front end of your liver, which is what controls digestive enzymes, it produces bile so that you're able to digest fats effectively. And oh, by the way, eating fat doesn't make you fat. It's always been starch, sugar, and alcohol. Those things will make us fat, not eating fat. Never was eating fat. So they lied to us. Liver is such a big deal. Such a big deal. Blood quality in the side of your liver is what makes a thing that's called fibrinogen. It's a marker in your blood work that we would check, and it's clotting factors, so it can affect blood quality. Sleep is also affected because your liver is most active between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. So liver. So what if you start to do things to improve liver? First, we're going to talk about what type of testing should you do, and then we're going to talk about what type of solutions should you do to things that you should do to fix liver function, to improve it. First, testing. There's not a lot of great testing. I mean, blood work is okay, but primarily blood work was designed to test you for disease. So what if you're not in a state of disease? What if you have some of these symptoms that we're just describing and talking about, but yet you go to your doctor and they, your blood work looks good, you're in good shape. And you're scratching your head and going, and you're getting frustrated. That's not so good. And here's what happens. In blood work, the lab ranges are so ridiculously wide that it takes a long time to get you to where you drop outside of the range. When you're outside of the range, then you're considered a disease process where doctors can do something about it. Here, take this drug, take these drugs, right? And that sort of thing. So I would suggest that we would do more comprehensive blood work. The blood work that we do is more comprehensive, and we do way more markers, and we have a tighter lab range, a lab range that we bring it in, and I call this an optimal range. And when you deviate outside of our optimal range, it's like a yellow light coming on saying, caution, heading in the wrong direction. Because if we can catch something that's heading in the wrong direction, it's much, much easier to turn it around, to solve it, to bring it back into balance. So lipids are probably a good blood work marker. In other words, looking at your blood fats. There's a couple of other ones. There's AST, ALT. There's liver enzymes that when they're high, that means there's overt liver tissue damage being done. And you kind of don't want to wait till then. There's also a condition called fatty liver that occurs. And usually that occurs because of oxidized seed oils and or starch and sugar in our diet or alcohol. You know that alcoholics have issues with liver issues, causes liver issues. So taking that stress off our body is a big factor. So when we talk about solutions now for your liver, it definitely requires a lifestyle change on your part. And one of the major changes is you have to look at your diet. The most stressful thing on your liver is going to be starch, sugar, and alcohol. So you really need to consider those things, because I would highly recommend, and encourage you to begin to step away from those as quickly as possible. Because we're seeing kids now in their 20s having fatty liver degeneration, all because of I can't really call them foods, but foods these days that are very concentrated in high fructose corn syrup, really problematic, very damaging to your body tissues and liver. So liver is such a big deal to our full body wellness. Like I said, anxiety, depression, mood issues, that's just one thing. And, as you know, doctors will give out antidepressant medication, SSRIs, like candy, and they don't have a lot of good results, actually, those medications. Many people will take them because they trust their doctors. And there's this placebo effect that can occur too. But people genuinely want to feel better, obviously, and function better. But I would say looking at liver and starting to support your liver would be the best thing. And there's a bunch of great nutrients as well as herbs that are phenomenal to help your liver. And I want to start off by talking about nutrients, so vitamins, minerals, and herbs in comparison to drugs. Going to your doctor. Your biochemistry inside your body is actually made up of food and nutrients. It's not made up of drugs and chemicals. And don't get me wrong, drugs and chemicals have a place for people that need them, but you don't want to just treat the symptoms. So for instance, high blood pressure medication, that medication can definitely work and lower your blood pressure, but wouldn't you rather ask the question, why is my blood pressure high in the first place, and work at that level so that you can actually heal and resolve that problem, and therefore not have to maintain being on a medication for the rest of your life. A good example is like your check engine light comes on in the car, and you can take it to a mechanic and they can plug a computer in and shut the light off. Comes back on the next day, and you can go back, take it back to the mechanic. They can plug that computer back in, shut the light off again. You're only going to do that so many times. Instead, you're going to go, why aren't you checking the engine? Because if you check the engine and solve that problem, the light doesn't come back on again. Because if you keep doing that, your engine's going to seize on you, fail. And so therefore you got to consider, well, what if my blood pressure continues to be high? Because if you stop medication, it'll come back up because you haven't solved the root cause behind it. So I would suggest finding that as well. Don't get me wrong, don't just stop the medication. Doctors are well-meaning, but you want to find out what's causing it and deal with that. So some great nutrients. Now, I like there's actually several. There's more than several products that we use. We use a product from Standard Process Nutrition called SP Cleanse. They also have Livaplex for liver support. They have Colaplex for liver cholesterol support. And within each of these supplements have an abundance of multiple different nutrients to really help the liver heal and resolve these issues. Some other products I use, Daily Liver Pro by a company called Gaia Pro Herbs. Wonderful product. We also like milk thistle. We also like dandelion, Oregon grape. There's a whole bunch of particular nutrients that are within these in multiple products. Like you can take one supplement that has multiples of these products within them that really, really helps your liver. Another one is Liver Detox, liver support. There's some really good nutrients. But I do want to mention when it comes to taking nutrition, you're not going to find good nutrition at Costco and Walmart and Sprouts because there's a big difference in retail nutrition versus professional nutrition. Professional nutrition is really designed with the exact type of active ingredient, the exact amount necessary to really change and improve and normalize your body physiology. So I would highly recommend that you get a hold of a functional medicine doctor and not just some fly-by-night company that's a multi-level marketing company that's going to make a person a bunch of money, but the products are not so good. They're really not changing things for you. How do you know they're changing is because you want to do testing before you take something and test it afterwards to see if in fact, hey, my cholesterol's down. Hey, my blood pressure is normal. Hey, my mood is better. I'm sleeping better. All of these great things that can be involved with liver function. So let's move on to number 2 thing to do. The second thing would be your gut health, your digestive health. Huge, and make this working on this can make a difference in your full body function from the perspective of staving off heart disease, cancer, autoimmune, and neurodegenerative disease processes. All coming from your gut. You're going, what? It's true. This is currently in the current science. It's been around for a while as well, but you wouldn't really connect those dots. My gut can cause heart disease and cancer and auto. I've seen all of these actually, all being derived from a person's digestive tract. Really, really important. In today's environment, we have way too much stress, and our body shifts from the rest and digest side of our nervous system to the fight or flight side. Most people have way too much fight or flight and not nearly enough, if any at all, parasympathetic function, rest and digest. And so that in and of itself creates digestive issues. Constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, all those terrible problems. Heartburn, acid reflux, and of course now acid reflux is caused, or heartburn is now caused gastroesophageal reflux disease. I hate when they put that name on it because it implies that you have this monster growing inside of you that's going to kill you someday and you'll never get rid of it. You just have to take drugs for it. Not really good. So improving digestive health is really, really important because it can affect your full body physiology in all of those regions too. Also, your mood and emotions can be affected by digestion because within your digestive tract, you make 95% of your brain chemicals. Serotonin, dopamine, GABA, acetylcholine, all those great things made in your gut. Fixing your gut can have a major impact on your mood emotions. Great thing to do. So the testing for gut, I primarily like 2 tests. The first one is called a GI map. GI map is a DNA stool test, and this is a specialized stool test, cutting edge stool test. It's called DNA stool test because it doesn't miss a trick. You will see bacterial pathogens, parasitic pathogens, viral pathogens within this testing. And these are the pathogens that can cause acute gut complaints. Like, for instance, if you go to a restaurant and you eat a salad or you have a soup or something like that, and 20 minutes later you're in the restroom vomiting, that's classically norovirus. That's measured also in this test. Another one that you may have heard of, if you go hiking and you happen to drink water out of a stream, you can get giardia. That's another acute bacterial pathogen that can cause problems in your gut. Also, you can see everything from your keystone foundational bacteria that should be there, but they can be out of balance. Too much or too little. You can also have the dysbiotic, the bad guys, the bad bacteria that can be there. But parasites, fungus, yeast, worms, all shown in this one test. Very comprehensive. But one thing that's also great, at the very end of the test, it gives you this section called intestinal health. And within that, you have more than several markers that are phenomenal that can measure your gallbladder function, your pancreatic enzyme function. If those are higher, like too little, you don't have enough of those digestive enzymes, So just by putting back in some good digestive enzymes, that can make a difference. Do you need to support your gallbladder? Do you need to support your pancreatic enzymes or what? Also, H. pylori, too, is a bacteria that can reside in your stomach that can cause heartburn, indigestion, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Also can cause, there's a strain of it can cause gastric cancer. Really want to get rid of those bad guys. Also, what's in this last page, some really big inflammatory markers that usually are caused by and outputted from some of these bad bugs that we talked about earlier. Very last marker that I love is zonulin. Zonulin is a protein that tightens down and keeps your intestinal cells tightly together. And then when zonulin is high in your stool test, it means that you can have intestinal permeability, the technical term, or also known as leaky gut. Maybe you've heard of that. Leaky gut combined with, there's exactly current science, 11 autoimmune triggering bugs. If you have leaky gut combined with having some of those autoimmune triggering bugs, guess what you're set up to develop? Autoimmune disease. Shows up differently in different people, but there's a major root cause for autoimmunity. Not good. So gut health is so critical. Now, a second test, if your digestive tract isn't as bad, maybe you just have some bloating, maybe you have a little bit of, constipation, something like that, you can do what's called a GI spotlight test. Really phenomenal. It's just not as comprehensive as the GI map. Same technology though, DNA stool test. It's just not as comprehensive. It doesn't have as many items in there. Great testing for your gut health. So then what should you do for your gut health? Well, in all three of these cases, the three items that we're going to talk about, we talked about first liver health, secondly gut health, and the third part we're going to talk about in just a minute, all have a common denominator that makes a huge bad thing happen in these areas or a good thing, and it's the food that you eat. Eating food can literally destroy these organ systems or they can help these organ systems. So you have to address how you're eating. And believe me, you're going to pay a price now or you're going to pay a price later. The price that you pay now will be much smaller than the price that you pay later to be in a full-blown disease process that started in these areas, which we don't want. So that being said, from the digestive standpoint, from the food perspective, what you should be eating, and this has been a project for me over many years, 35 plus years, is I'm now at the point of I'm eating a carnivore diet. Carnivore diet is only eating animal protein and animal fat. And so you're saying, well, that's very restrictive. Well, yes, it is, but it's dramatic improvement in everything. It's so amazing. Your body will use every bit of what's in animal protein, animal fat, which is why people say, oh my gosh, I get constipated when I eat this way. And it's not that they're really constipated. It's because they use up everything. There's no waste left over. So they might go to the bathroom maybe once every other day sometimes, or maybe once a day. That being said, it's not constipation. Your body using everything. And the nutrients that are in animal protein and animal fat are way more bioavailable than in fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables have defense chemicals in them that create inflammation and problems in our body, which is why, and you probably know somebody that says, if I eat broccoli or cauliflower, I always have gas and bloating. And it's really not because they have problems in their digestive tract. It's those defense chemicals creating that problem. That's the way that fruits and vegetables were designed by God to protect this piece of broccoli from being eaten by pests, animals, and even us. It bothers us. So if you do a carnivore diet, it's going to make dramatic changes because you're giving your gut health collagen and amino acids and things to help repair that gut lining, that leaky gut that we're talking about. So it takes a huge stressor off your gut. Plus, it's the most anti-inflammatory way to eat. There's no downside to carnivore diet except the variety. And the variety, you could do a search on snack ideas in the carnivore diet. breakfast, lunch, dinner ideas, and you have hundreds of thousands of different ideas. That's all it is. And the great thing too is it's super simple to do. I mean, a recipe for cheesecake, maybe 3 ingredients, and it's carnivore. It's not something that's going to raise your blood sugar and cause all these problems. So that's gut health. Some of the nutrients necessary to help gut health are going to be artemisinin, Oregon grape. Let me think, what else? Because I use several different products to help really solve and get rid of bad bugs in your gut. The great thing about these these ingredients do not do anything that's bad to your good probiotic bacteria that's there. Whereas doctors will throw in vancomycin and Cipro and really nasty, horrible antibiotics that will destroy everything in your gut. And you're kind of left in a vacuum in the sense that now a bunch of bad guys will jump in there and recultivate, and you'll have more and more problems that never seem to go away. So we like to use things, a blend of herbs that really take care of it. We use GI microbics oil of oregano. Oregano is another great bad guy for gut health. We also like to then use there's GI microbics oil of oregano, there's intestinal fungal balance, there's biofilm detox, there's a bunch of different great products, but I always say run it past somebody who's a functional medicine guy to do these things, especially when it comes to gut health, because you want to get rid of bad guys, you want to put back good guys, you want to heal and seal this leaky gut potentially, you want to also restore digestive enzyme production and get this balance back in your gut to where everything just goes away and resolves. Why? Heart disease, cancer, autoimmune, neurodegenerative, mood, emotions, major impact on your full body health. Let's move to number 3, the last one, and that is blood sugar. Blood sugar. Blood sugar is a big deal. Why is blood sugar such a big deal? Because one in out of every 3 people is pre-diabetic. And that is a major, major item. 1 in 3 are pre-diabetic. So why is that a big deal? Because what is the number one killer today in the United States? Do you know? It's actually still heart disease. And it's worse than ever. And the government recommended diet, the SAD diet, standard American diet, right? That's been recommended. They've changed their minds so many times over the years. And over the last 20 years, heart disease has never improved. It's always worsened. So guess what? They're on the wrong track. So you need to listen to somebody who's going to tell you the truth and actually care and really help you to resolve. How do you know things are changing and resolving? You do testing before, you do some good work, you do testing afterwards and check and see. Blood sugar. Why is blood sugar such a big deal? Because it causes heart disease, destroys your heart and blood vessels. And as you know, a diabetic has problems with everything. Their vision goes, their hearing goes, their skin, oh my goodness, of course their heart and blood vessels, they're very pro-inflammatory. Their kidneys go, their liver go, everything starts to literally fall apart. So from Alzheimer's is considered type 3 diabetes. There's plaque in the brain. Another example of high blood sugar and hence high insulin is going to be plaque in your eyes, which is called cataracts. Another problem is plaque in your heart and blood vessels. Not good. And at the center of those plaques is not cholesterol. That's on the surface to heal tissue. The number one, over 90% of all plaque in heart disease is actually oxidized seed oils. Canola oil, sunflower, safflower, corn oil, dreadful stuff. It's super fragile and it gets damaged. So guess what the number one most stable fat that there is that you can eat? Saturated fat. And as you know, saturated fat is evil. It causes heart disease. Absolutely does not. Does not. If you really look at the science, it does not cause heart disease. It's always been starch, sugar, alcohol, and seed oils. Where do you get seed oils? Well, if you look at the ingredients in a processed food product, all these ingredients, you're going to see all sorts of seed oils that are not so good for you. blood sugar is critical. Why? Because it destroys your body from top to bottom. And I always see, we have some special technology in my office too that's not invasive. It's fabulous technology, very, very accurate, but it measures endothelial function, the integrity of the inner skin lining of all your blood vessels. So you can see if you're doing damage there. Microcirculation, we also measure that. You can see if you're doing damage there. And if you have heart disease, classically, what we always see with people that have heart disease, significant blood sugar issues. So what type of testing then should we do for this type of problem? Well, certainly you can do fasting blood glucose. You can do hemoglobin A1C, which is the last 3-month averages of your blood sugar. But really important is a fasting insulin. High insulin is always at the causal level of most all chronic illnesses. It just destroys your body from inside out. Big problem there. C-peptide is another factor. And then we like to also look at the lipids, because the lipids are an example of what's going on in the liver. When they're skyrocketed all out of balance and problematic, then your blood fats, your cholesterol, triglycerides, all of those things, what beats up your liver, that is what makes your cholesterol in your blood, is starch, sugar, and alcohol. So it's another good look at, from a different perspective, how your blood sugar is doing. LDL cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. Starch, sugar, alcohol, raising your insulin, that's what does it. Inflammation, starch, sugar, and alcohol. So guess what? What should you do then to fix these problems? Well, there are some nutrients to take, certainly. Berberine is a great nutrient that functions actually better than some medications, but it makes your body tissues more sensitive to insulin as well as to sugar. Also, cinnamon, you maybe have heard of cinnamon. Another herb is called gymnema, a glucose tolerance factor that's in chromium glucose tolerance factor. A special type of food-based chromium can make a huge difference in blood sugar. Vanadium, another mineral, trace mineral that can really have a great impact. And we use these in combination products. For instance, glucose sugar balance is a great one from a wonderful company that I found called Doctors Food Research. It's a doctors only nutrition company, but it's a food-based nutrient that's phenomenal. It has a bunch of things all in one called glucose sugar balance. Another thing, like I said, is berberine, great things. But diet is so critical with this. If you were to go to a carnivore diet, your blood sugar would just plummet to normal. The only reason your blood sugar goes below normal is because it once was too high. If you spike your blood sugar up, it's going to go too low. And then when your organ systems that stabilize blood sugar, your pancreas, your liver, and your adrenals, when they're struggling and having problems, they have a hard time stabilizing your blood sugar. So it's kind of a work in progress that you should also, I would suggest that you work with a functional medicine doctor on these things. But let me tell you, working on these things will make a major impact on your full body wellness, which you'd love to have. It's not pie in the sky. This really does work. It's not a $20,000, $50,000 program either, at all. Working on your liver health, working on your gut health, working on your blood sugar stability and health, major impact on your full body wellness. So if you'd like help on these things, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can contact me through email. My email is draugustine@gmail.com. Dr, the month of August with INE, @gmail.com. You can call my office at 562-860-3404. Love to chat with you. We have a free discovery call. If you have questions, it's on my website. My website is www.aheadtowellness.com. Ahead to Wellness, AHEADTO wellness.com. There's a category up on the right side. Basically choosing it. You can be a new patient, but you can choose a free discovery consultation, whereas we can chat on the phone and talk as long as you like to really figure things out with you on how to do things and what to do. I'm on social media. I'm on, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. My, what do you want to call it? My handle on there is Dr. Jim Cares. all together, all one word, Dr. Jim, Dr. Jim Cares. I'm also on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and the rest of the podcasting apps that are available. My name is Dr. Augustine from Ahead to Wellness. I hope this helps you. Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have a great day. We will see you all next week.
Thanks for joining us on your journey to wellness. Join us next time for more information and education about your health. And feel free to contact Dr. Jim on social media or at his office, Ahead to Wellness in Buena Park, California.